Amanda, thank you so much for joining me on the Tiny Sessions podcast today.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's lovely to have you. For anyone who hasn't heard of you or about your space, could you just tell us a little bit about you and your background?
Yep, I'm Amanda and I'm 53 yesterday. Me and my husband knew that we wanted to get a camper van. We hired one a few years ago and we just instantly fell in love with it, loved everything about it. And to be honest, it was a lot to do with having dogs because we didn't want to leave her at home. We just hated that thought of leaving her at home when we go on holiday, because it's her holiday as well. So we thought, we'll get a camper van and just to travel around. And I can honestly say I didn't realise how much I'd fall in love with it.
Oh, really?
And it's really strange because before camper van, I really wasn't outdoorsy at all. It's funny, the amount of people that say to me, I cannot believe how outdoorsy you are now. Because we lived in Chelmsford, which is now a city, and we lived a very city lifestyle, really. And we've always loved the beach, so we used to go to the beach. We're lucky to not live that far away from the beach, but I would never have classed myself as outdoorsy. Never.
That's so interesting.
And it was really funny because just before we did have a big move to Cornwall, which didn't really work out, sadly. But before that, I had just started to embrace a minimalist lifestyle. It's just something that really appealed to me, not having a lot of stuff and adventures over things, really. And hence a camper van is perfect for adventures. So we just fell in love with it. Me and my husband, Paul, also known as Mr. P, always call him Mr. P. And we just absolutely love it. And when we got Georgie, instantly it was Georgie. We just knew her name would be Georgie. And as I say, we just fell in love with her. She's a Volkswagen T5, and it's perfect for us because Mr. P actually uses Georgie for his daily drive to work. So we knew we couldn't have anything too big. We wanted something obviously with enough space in it for us, our dog and our dogs, and just to have adventures, and also something I would feel comfortable driving as well.
Do you feel like you would have been a bit too daunted if it was something too big?
I think so. To start with. Now I feel that I could drive something bigger. In actual fact, I prefer driving Georgie than I do my car.
That's interesting.
And I think it might be because driving a van, you instantly slow down. It's a slow pace, and I just love that slow pace. It's just lovely.
I love that. It's so interesting of how you got to getting Georgie as well. And also when you've got Georgie, it's given you that chance to explore an adventure, but you naturally do have to minimize everything because you don't want to feel like you've got clutter in the space.
No, that's something that luckily I'd done in our house, if you like, before I got Georgie. Literally, I went from having a long wardrobe full of clothes to now Paul and I actually share a built-in wardrobe.
Fantastic.
A standard side wardrobe. And people don't know how you do it, but but you don't wear all of your clothes. Nobody does, let's face it.
You don't wear half of it.
And even though I would class myself as a minimalist, I still don't wear. There are still things that I know I don't really wear a lot of. We all go for the same things, don't we?
Really. Definitely.
And obviously now we've got Georgie, it's all outdoor clothes.
That's it. Your fashion style's changed as well.
100%. It's really
I love that. Could you talk us through the layout of your Georgie space?
Yes, she's a standard VW T5. So at the front you've got the cabin, which is lovely. We have got a double seat and the driver's seat, and the double seat is a swivel seat.
Cool.
We'll put that in so that we can turn it round, somewhere to sit, also somewhere for the dogs to sleep on as well.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. We have got a pop top.
Okay.
We haven't been that adventurous to sleep up there.
Oh, do you not? You sleep downstairs at the
We
moment?
sleep downstairs because we're just concerned that we may end up downstairs if we try. So we're a little bit worried about that one. But one day I hope we can try it.
Yeah.
It's nice having the pop top because we both said, not being spring chickens, I don't think I could lean around on my knees cooking and things like that.
Yeah, that's it. You don't want to be sort of bent and hunched over either. Like at any time, it's not as comfortable.
No,
Like
and it is our little home on wheels. So I want to feel at home and comfortable.
Yeah.
Because you've got everything in the one space, haven't you? You know, kitchen, lounge, bedroom.
Definitely.
And then obviously in the middle space, we've got a lovely kitchen area with the normal hob and sink.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky because we have where our fridge freezer is, we've got a fridge freezer, which is amazing.
That is, yeah.
The guy that put it in, sort of it comes out a little bit, and we've got an extra little bit of work surface, which is really handy. Yes, and then when you open it, I've got some shelves on the door in front of the fridge freezer.
I see.
So that's a little bit more storage space, which is amazing.
Definitely. That's really cool. Do you find, have you got a like a toilet or a shower at the back or anything like that?
No, we've got a little portable toilet.
Got a little portable toilet.
It always makes me laugh on my chat. So we always end up toilet talk, don't we?
Yeah, everyone loves to know. It's interesting to see what people choose because some people go, no, I don't need a shower at the back, because some people put it like a portable one that they hook on, but it depends also because some people prefer to go to like campsites, or even if they're not at campsites, they choose to go to places where they know there's going to be a shower, or they might pop into a gym or go for a swim. Like that. Is that what you do?
What we've worked out, I mean, it's still early days for us, really. We've only had Georgie, we had her delivered on the weekend of lockdown.
Wow.
So it was like, really? But it gave us a chance to camp out on the driveway, so we see what it was like, what we needed, what we didn't need, which was great. But yeah, we weren't that bothered about a shower. Yes, we wash. But, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it takes you, once again, it's about that slow living. It takes you back.
Yeah.
Well, when I was younger, we'd have like a strip wash in.
That's it, and just heat up some water with the kettle if you need it
and have a wash. But we knew we wanted a toilet, so we did buy a toilet, which is actually fine. No problem at all. We tend to spend maybe 3-4 days wild camping. Then we will find somewhere to camp on a campsite.
Oh, that's good. So it's the two.
So
that makes sense.
I mean, if I had my way, I would wild camp all the time.
Would you?
I love it. I just love wild camping.
That's fantastic.
I just love the freedom. I love the fact that you can find these little secret places, little secret locations, where there's nobody else.
Definitely just peace and quiet.
Definitely. And so the toilet, and I know it sounds funny, but it does actually act as another seat as well.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And then we just sort of got the normal pull-out bed, rock and roll bed, so we just pull that out, and we sleep on that, which is actually really comfortable. We've got a mattress topper.
Oh, cool.
Really comfortable, and we just sleep on that. And I'm not a sleeping bag girl. I'm a quilt and pillow girl.
And do you find it okay that you've got to sort of redo your bed each time? Have you found that okay, or because that's something that people sort of question before they're doing things?
It can be a pain, and the only time it's a pain is if it's pouring down with rain, because obviously we've got everything in Georgie, so then it's like, right, okay, so I mean, we have to laugh because invariably Paul will pull the bed out, so I'm sitting on the swivel chair with everything literally on top of me. I can't see a thing, so I've got everything on top of me. Paul's pulling the bed out, and then so we always laugh, and I think, well, it's an extra laugh. that is one thing we have said. If we ever bought a bigger van, we would love a fit bed.
Yeah.
But you know, to be honest, I really don't mind. I class everything as part and parcel of the adventures.
Yes. Yeah.
And I
Definitely.
really don't mind. But that is the only time it's a little bit of a pain.
Yeah, that's
When it's raining.
understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I'd love to know, do your friends share your same sort of memories and sort of aspirations with your sense of adventure that you've got now?
Not all of them.
Yeah, that's all right. It's really interesting. It's so
because
interesting to hear.
I think because obviously I feel that I have changed a lot since being in van life, really.
Yeah.
And some people just don't get it.
Yeah.
Some of my clients, I'm a hairdresser, mobile hairdresser.
Oh,
And
cool.
some of my clients, the first thing everybody says is, well, where'd you go to the toilet? And where'd you have a shower? That's the first
Yeah.
thing they say. And some people, you can tell they're really not very, they're like, oh, okay then. And then they just don't share the adventure.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, something I've realised, a lot of people just want luxurious holidays.
Yes.
And I just feel like they're missing something, because I
Yeah.
think van life brings so much to your life.
Yeah.
So much joy, so much adventure, things you don't get when you go on a luxurious holiday.
Yeah, definitely. It's like when you say about how you can come across the most little hidden gems or hidden spots, and you're not tied either. You don't need to get back to somewhere to sleep, or you can just, if you find somewhere, you can just go, oh, let's have dinner here tonight.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I love. It's literally spur of the moment. You're living in the moment.
Yeah.
And it's literally just, we eat when we're hungry, we sleep when we're tired, and we adventure when we want to adventure, and we do what we want to do.
I love that. Yeah,
I
definitely.
think it's so important, and there's something I think as we've got older as well, we've realised.
Yeah. Do you think it's come to you later on, that
Yes.
sort of appreciation for all of those things?
100%. When I was younger, it was all about luxury,
Yeah.
designer handbags, shoes, all those sort of things that were just in my life. But it's really funny, because when I think back,
Yeah.
I almost feel like I felt a bit of anxiety, a bit of, I had to keep up with that.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And I feel that's taken off my shoulders now. I don't feel that at all.
Oh, that's
And I feel
so
that
good.
I can be me, and I feel this is the real me.
Oh,
And
that's so interesting.
and I often say to Paul, I really wish that we'd found this earlier on.
Earlier.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think I would have embraced it a lot more and earlier on, and had more years of adventure.
Yeah.
But now I'd be out all the time. I would rent out the house and just go.
And just
had
go. Oh, that sounds fantastic.
But Miss P is like, no, he's the sensible one. He's like, not yet, maybe in a few years' time.
Oh, I think you should tell him to do it sooner
Yes,
rather than later.
yeah, definitely.
Tell him don't wait for the next year.
Don't wait.
You just don't know. Do it sooner.
You don't know. It's so true, isn't it?
If it's something you guys want to do, you just have to do it, I think.
Oh, yes, yeah. And the thing we've found as well, that how beautiful the UK is.
Yes.
Because we really hadn't had that many holidays in the UK before. We spent a lot of time in Scotland, because we've got family in Scotland.
Okay.
But we've fallen in love with the Highlands. I mean, it's magical. Beautiful.
Is it the scenery that makes it?
I just say it's everything about it.
Isn't it?
In August we went to the Isle of Skye.
Yeah.
And it may sound really strange to some people, but I actually felt quite emotional when we got on to Skye.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Yeah.
I just find there's something really magical about it.
Yeah.
The scenery, just the feeling you get when you're there. The fact that you can drive around and you don't hardly see anybody.
Yeah.
And you can take everything in, and you're all by yourself.
Yeah.
I just think it's really lovely.
That's so lovely. Was there like a turning point? Like, do you remember a turning point from when you went from being that person who liked those material items and then decided to go for the like getting Georgie and things like that and embracing that other style of life?
I think it started when we were living in Chelmsford and we had quite a stressful life. Paul was working a lot of hours. I was working ridiculous hours. We didn't really see a lot of each other. I mean, for some people, that lifestyle is perfect and they embrace it and they love it.
Yeah.
But I just thought it wasn't for us. That's when we decided to move to Cornwall, and I just found my love of minimalism. And that's when I started basically just getting rid of so much stuff. It's just unbelievable. I just kept
But Mr. B came in and he was like, what's going
on? And he actually said to me for a long time, if I stand still long enough, I'll be out the door. Because I was just like, right, don't need that anymore, and then unfortunately it didn't work out in Cornwall, and when we moved back to Colchester, once again, moving helps you get rid of things, and then we started thinking about sort of getting a van, and we hired one. I was like, this is just amazing. And that's what it was. Even though I'd started my journey to minimalism, when we hired the camper van, that was my turning point. Because
it's amazing.
All I need. I don't need to take a big suitcase of stuff on holiday with me anymore. And I only need a few things, and that is it. I don't have to worry about that when I'm on holiday. I can just enjoy everything.
So it was hiring the camper van enabled you to have a taste of what it's like, because there's a lot of people who consider hiring out their van space, and so it's really interesting to know what that can give someone, because thinking about it, probably often it is people who want to just see what it's like as well, so they probably have more sort of respect for the space as well.
Definitely. I mean, I say to lots of people, if it's something you're thinking about, hire one first. Because it really gives you a taste. Because it's not for everybody. Everybody can do for us all to be the same. So it isn't for everybody. But I have got to say, anyone we meet in the van life community, wow, I say it nearly every day, I cannot believe how lovely everybody is. So lovely. They just want to chat, and they have time for you, which a lot of people don't have in life, which I really love.
That is so true, because the amount of people that I meet and talk to, and it's amazing that from all over the world, and every single person gives time. And it's really interesting what you say with that, because if everyone gave that time just in life in general, it would be definitely a better place, because sometimes people need just that listening ear or that conversation, and then other times it is just just to have a social conversation, but sometimes people need that little moment to just release something to someone.
Definitely. And it doesn't matter where we go, we always end up chatting to people in the van life community, and it's just lovely. We've even had people on who I've had message me on mainly YouTube, because we've got a sticker at the back, who said, "Oh, I've just seen you, drove past you on the motorway."
Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool. Well, that just shows the sticker works.
And we went to the fairy pools in the Isle of Skye, which are beautiful. And a little boy, bless him, he came up to us and he said, "I watch you on YouTube." Do you? He was about 11.
That's so lovely.
Such a lovely little boy. And his mum and dad were lovely, and we chatted for ages. And then his mum and dad were like, "Oh, he hasn't really got in," because I said, "Oh, we're on Instagram." I said, "I'd do a little bit more on Instagram." And he said, "Oh, I haven't got Instagram." But then when we got home, his mum messaged me and said, "We've set up a page for him so that he can follow you on Instagram."
Oh, that's so lovely.
I thought that was so lovely. And I thought, from her point of view as a mum, I would rather my child be following someone that has adventures and does something
Yes.
like that than a lot of other things that they can see on
Yes.
social media.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And so heartwarming to know that that's what
Yeah.
he's watching. You know, he's watching
Yeah,
your YouTube account. And so he's probably going to grow up being inspired, like
exactly.
probably very early on, wanting to get himself a van.
Adventures, yeah, which I think
Yeah.
is amazing.
Oh, that's
It's
lovely.
really amazing. And as I say, the people we've met in the community has just been fantastic. And
Oh,
we went to our first ever van meet in
amazing. Where was that?
Oh wow, that was incredible. It was in Wales. And it was just amazing.
I
It was
didn't
just,
even know they did them in
oh
Wales.
yes. Well, it's a lady called Amy, and she started the Van Fam Tribe
Amazing.
on Instagram, and it's just grown, and the community is just amazing, really
Oh,
lovely.
lovely.
And so she arranged this meetup, and we was a bit nervous because you don't, when you meet people in the flesh, to meet them, to talking to
Yes.
them, it's like, oh, this is strange.
Yeah.
But oh, we had such a lovely weekend.
Oh, it's so nice.
It was very chilled. It was a beautiful, beautiful campsite. It had everything you can imagine that you need. Very chilled. We went kayaking. There was a lovely mountain to climb, so we went up there. We had a massive barbecue where we all sat with our fire pits and just chatted.
Oh,
It was just perfect. It was just perfect.
oh,
And
it sounds
from a while,
wonderful.
we just felt that we'd just met new friends, and it was
Yeah.
just lovely, really lovely. uh,
Oh,
and we've arranged one for next year, so it's perfect.
fantastic. Oh, it's so nice.
So
That is
lovely.
so lovely. And it's so nice hearing about like the adventures and how that's inspired people. I'd love to know, where do you plan to go next, or later into 2022 even as well?
Yeah. Yes, we have got some exciting plans. We
Ah,
love the UK, but we would love to go to Scandinavia. So
yes.
that is on our list. It's somewhere I've wanted to go for years, and it's Scandinavia inspires me because it's a lot of the ethos of slow living,
Yeah.
and minimalism, and I love everything about Scandinavia. I love
Yeah.
their decor. I love everything about it. The hike, just everything.
Yeah.
How it's cozy, and just love it. So we've wanted to go there. So we've been looking at maps, and we've figured our route and everything. And we were actually going to go this year, but
Okay.
because of the situation,
Yeah.
we decided it was best to wait. So we would love to go next year, but we're hanging on just to see what's going to happen. If
Yeah.
we don't go next year, we'll definitely go the following. It will either
Yeah.
be next year or the year after.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic.
we've even figured out like dog passports, like I say, the route we're taking.
Oh, it's so
So
good.
yeah, and we've watched loads of YouTube videos. So that's where we'd really, really love to go.
That's
Uh,
so cool. What are the YouTube videos that you found that's to do with? Is it to do with how to go from the UK to Scandinavia?
Yes, yeah. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone specific, but there's been a few people that have gone from the UK, and
Yeah.
they've gone to the Hook of Holland,
Yeah.
and then travelled up through there, through
Yeah.
Amsterdam, through that on that way. So yeah, a couple of people have got to the Northern Lights and all
Yeah.
things like that, which is amazing. But we just thought we would see how far we get, and then
Yes.
obviously get home in the time that we've allocated,
Yeah.
and sort of take it each day as it comes, really.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the videos I've watched, they're just so geared up for camper vans.
Yeah.
It's amazing how different it is over there to
It
here.
is. Yeah.
Stop at the side of the road, and they've got little stops where you can have a shower, you can fill up your water,
Yeah.
empty your waste. It's just so geared up.
Yeah.
So,
It
I
is a
mean,
whole other
so
world. It's
different, so
amazing.
different. And they've even got in the woods little huts where you can take wood and
Yeah.
just build fires. And
Ah, that's good.
that's by a lake, and you
Yeah.
think that's incredible. And
Yeah.
it's just so different to here. And I think I do think in Scotland it's a lot better than in the UK, in England.
Scotland does remind me of Scandinavia and
Yes,
Norway. It does remind me a bit of that. And I think out of the two, that's probably Scotland's probably the closest in
definitely.
relation to that sort of feel.
Yes. Yeah, because we never feel uncomfortable when we're touring around Scotland.
Yeah.
And we always feel that wherever we stop, there wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, and that can be a worry in other places, can't it? You have to sort of think, am I in the right place?
Yeah,
If I'm not sure, am I going to get stopped by
definitely,
someone? And it's just
definitely.
an extra added thing. And you don't sleep well if you're worrying about if someone's
Oh,
going to come and knock and say you need to move.
exactly. We have had that
Have you?
twice, and it does make you feel really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, once we had it when bless her, the lady who had had a few drinks, may we say, and she was a local, and she was just mainly concerned about where we went to the toilet.
Right.
So we had to explain where we were. Yeah, and it's all eco-friendly, and we're very good, and so she was fine. But then the next time we was actually in a car park. It was in near Hastings.
Yeah.
It's called Hastings Country Park,
Yeah.
and beautiful views across the sea, across a place called Fairlight, which is beautiful. And we'd paid. Now, we didn't really have to pay because after 6 o'clock you don't have to pay, but we thought we'll be good. We will pay the full amount to stay the night, because that's still good. So we was like, yeah, that's fine. A guy had camped in a tent. There was another camper van there. We thought, not a problem. We'd been there before, had no issues.
Yeah.
And really early in the morning, Paul had taken Darcy for a walk. And this lady, literally, I was just sitting there having a cup of tea, and she just walked up to me and just started having a go at me.
Oh.
You shouldn't be here. What do you think you're doing? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, look, we're not doing anything wrong. We're not parked outside your house.
No. And you paid for overnight camping.
We've paid. We're very good. We take away more rubbish than we ever make.
Yeah.
We always pick up rubbish. We're always tidy, quiet, all the things we should be doing. And we're respectful.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it should be. But she just really wasn't a happy bunny.
Oh, maybe she was having a bad day, but it ruins it for you.
I think she was.
And then ruins it for you though, because it passes it on, doesn't it?
When Paul come back, he's like, oh, I feel like I want to go home now, and it sort of ruined it a bit.
Yeah.
It is a shame, but I just think some people just don't understand.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's important to note out as well, because we see some lovely images on Instagram and social media and things, and it's important to note that those things do happen, and sort of to show that it doesn't stop you still from doing those adventures.
Take the good with the bad, because
Yeah.
there are a few bad points, and I think it's really important, like you just said, to tell people.
Yeah.
And that's something I've always said from the beginning when we started our YouTube channel, when I started Instagram. I want to be honest with people. I don't want to sugarcoat it.
No, that's it.
And because that isn't real life.
Yeah.
Be real. And when it's pouring of rain and you're sitting in the van and you're all soggy and you're
yeah, that's it.
there are times you think, what am I doing?
It's all part of it, isn't it?
Part of the fun.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah. Someone said to me a long time ago, and I always think about it. I said, it's not inappropriate weather, it's inappropriate clothing. And that
very
is very
true. That's what they say in Scandinavia as well. There's no such thing as bad weather, it's bad clothing.
It's very true, and that's
very
something
true.
I've learned very quickly.
It is true. Out in Scandinavia, they always wear merino wool thin layers, and ever since I've been in Norway, I always, if it's winter, I will find something that has merino in, even if I bought it secondhand. People think that you have to get really thick items. If it's pure wool or if it's merino, you're fine.
Yeah, it's so true. That is, and with socks.
Yeah, definitely.
And they are so cozy. Yeah. And I just wear one pair of walking socks. Yeah. That's what I need. I don't need to wear my socks, and they're fine with my boots. Yeah. Like you say, I do wear base layers in the winter. Yeah, that's it. And they are amazing. But then with a wool, like merino wool, like jumper or something like that.
It does. It really works. It does. Oh, can you tell us about your camper van cuppa and chat that you do?
Yes, it's very exciting. I do love it. I started it because I thought how nice to be able to just chat to people, them not have it really feel relaxed, a bit like this, a nice relaxed
Yeah.
chat over a cuppa in your camper van. And it's something I started in lockdown because I thought, a lot of people aren't going away at the moment. Some people might feel really fed up not being
Yeah.
able to go away in the camper vans. So I just thought if we can just sit on a Friday night in our van and have a little chat, it might make you feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I started it, and most people say before they do it, I don't think I can do it. I'm really nervous. I'm so nervous. Like, look, really don't worry. It's really relaxed. It'll be fun. Then afterwards, they're like, I'm so glad I've done that. It made
Oh,
me feel so good. So
it's so
it's
good.
lovely. It's really lovely. So I'm always on the lookout for people to have a chat with.
Yeah.
I just really love it. It's really nice. And I've also done chatted to a couple of small businesses.
Oh,
And it's
cool.
really lovely to be able to, get them out there if they're small businesses
Yeah.
and just, help them. Because I do try to support small businesses.
Ah, that's lovely. And they're so good because it is really hard to get your sort of name out there with small businesses.
Definitely. Yes.
You might be using, for example, Instagram, but you don't always get seen on Instagram. So that's such a lovely platform to have for both businesses and people in van spaces.
Definitely. Because some people, they might be very small accounts and they only want to show a few things, but they might feel that they want to meet a few more people. And what a lovely way to do it, just to have a chat. And also people that are even thinking about getting a van.
Yeah.
I've had people not necessarily join me for a chat, but they've joined in the conversation and asked lots of questions.
Yes.
So they've, even messaged me afterwards and said, oh, I'm thinking about getting a van.
Yeah.
I really don't know where to start. I don't know what I'd need in a van. And it's just really a nice way of asking other people what they have in their vans.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've got what we need because that suits our needs.
Yeah.
But everybody, there's people with children, without children, with two or three
Yeah.
children, with dogs, or even cats.
Yeah.
A lovely lady, and she's got a van cat. And
so lovely.
so it's just a really lovely way of talking to people.
Oh, it's so nice. And I think also, especially with all of our lockdowns that we have, it strips away any possible loneliness that could occur, because you could even be living with someone, but if you can't go and see your friends, it gives you that same thing.
Definitely.
To be able to have that outlet. So I think it's so lovely that you do that. It's really, really cool.
It's just, like you just said, Nicole, it is that feeling of, I feel it if I can't go out in Georgie for a long time, I get really like, I need to get out, I need to go out. I don't like it. I don't want to be indoors all the time. I want to be out in Georgie. And it's really strange how you get attached to a van. It's crazy. It really is. It's mind-blowing, really, that what it can give you in your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to stop, for me, I mean, I'm a bit of a teaholic. We do like our tea, me and Miss
I love a tea.
So the important thing was the kettle. The first thing I bought was the kettle.
Was it?
Because it had to be tea in a teapot for me.
Love that.
The teapot and the kettle were my first purchases. And, everywhere we stop, I'm like, right, let's have a cup of tea now. And it's even if we're out for the day, let's have a cup of tea. And
oh, it's so lovely. That's so nice. And you have to take your teapot with you for when you go to Scandinavia.
Yes.
Keep you nice and warm.
It really will. It really, So I think it'd be a bit chilly over there.
Are you thinking of going in the winter or the summertime? Because
we've been looking, probably spring or autumn, we thought, because in the summer it's really hot, isn't it?
It is warmer. So when I went out there, it was May, June time. And that is when it's called the midnight sun, which is when the sun never sets. So it's 24 hours of daylight, which I've said to myself, if I went again, I would probably go, at least if I was going for the first time, for me, I would go around that time of the midnight sun, because I don't have to worry about the snow, the roads, the cold, all of those extra things with the van.
Yes.
And you're always, it's daylight all the time, even at 1 a.m, 2 a.m, 3 a.m, it's daylight.
Wow.
When it hits into their, like, what would be like their version of autumn. The skies are beautiful. So when it starts going to the winter, they have the most incredible sunsets. But then what happens is that it starts to get colder. So then you have the opposite, which is 24 hours or pretty much 24 hours of darkness. Which is when the Norwegian lights come in, and obviously you get those through different parts of Scandinavia as well. So that is something I remember when I've been looking at sort of the route and when to go. I said to myself, if I did go later on, I know that I would have to get the right wheels and invest in getting something on the wheels done properly. You can add traction onto wheels as well. You can get around it that way. I'm lucky that I've got friends out there, so I can ask them what to get. But I think for first time, for myself personally, I think if I did it, I would go when it's like the midnight sun. So then I don't have to worry about those things, at least just for that first time.
I think so, because we're obviously novices going abroad in Georgia anyway.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to feel uncomfortable, and that sounds really like the perfect time. I mean, the idea of seeing the Northern Lights, of seeing the snow, of seeing it's incredible. But I think to be sensible, that would probably be more the time we would go.
Yeah, definitely.
And then I think for wild camping as well, because we have got we're all set up to wild camp. That's not an issue. We've got the power, everything, we're fine. But I just think to feel confident, and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's it. And I guess if you've got snow to deal with, it's like a whole other kettle of fish, isn't it?
No, I don't think that would be good.
And you want it to be relaxed for yourself. But you are right, because with the sort of the winter side of it, like to be able to see the Northern Lights. So before we had the pandemic and lockdown started, I was going to go out to Norway to a like a co-working lodge, so you could use their area to be able to work on like your company and things like that. And I didn't have the van then, so I was going to go out there, and I would have had to hire a vehicle to get from the airport to the working lodge. And I guess that is where like the hire the van out comes into it, is where maybe if you wanted to try and see what it was like, you could hire a van out and see, because you know that they've already got the wheels and everything all set up as a taster if you wanted to go again another time as well. So maybe that's like you say with the hiring vans, maybe it works for that as well.
That is a really good idea. I mean, it's funny because the van hire thing, I think as well, since lockdown, oh my goodness, it's just taken off tenfold. It's I think obviously because people couldn't go abroad. I almost, because when we was out and about, we saw quite a few people, and we spoke to quite a few people who were in vans but had hired them. And I think that's really lovely. And they said, we never would have thought of doing this before.
That's interesting.
We would have gone abroad and that's it. Didn't even think twice about it. Just go abroad. Because that's what people used to doing. And to all of a sudden change, like we did really, we changed from going abroad just to sort of going on holiday in Georgia. And it is totally different, but we've said if we go abroad, it will be in Georgia. I'm not worried about going on an airplane ever again, to be honest.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
I really don't. I mean, and people that embrace van life to live in, I think are incredible. I think amazing. I would, that's something I would love to do. I think it's just amazing lifestyle. I really do. I mean, we've even had, where we live, we had a guy who's obviously a van lifer stay not far from us, because we're opposite a wood.
Really? Oh, wow.
Camped out. And this is once again what we were talking about before, where people get the wrong idea. And one of my neighbours actually messaged me, and she did make me giggle, because she put, I hope you don't mind me asking, but is that one of your friends over there? No, it is.
I don't know who they are.
I don't know every van lifer, everyone who's got a camper van. And I was like, no, it's not one of my friends, but it may be someone that's living in their van, and they're just, they're very quiet. As long as they're quiet, which they were, they didn't peep. It really doesn't bother me. But it is it really made me think, gosh, it must be so hard, because
Yeah,
find somewhere to park up every night,
yeah,
and you could possibly come across people that really aren't that keen on you
yeah,
parking opposite their house.
yeah, yeah. That's it. It's just sort of, it's not a norm as such in the UK, and it's sort of getting around that, that you would have to deal with those things.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. I've seen that you do wild swimming, and can you tell me how you find that wild swimming helps you?
Oh my goodness. I follow a couple of girls that are absolutely incredible that got me into it. And it's just something I thought, I don't think I'd ever be able to do that. I really don't like
Ah,
cold water. I don't think I'll be able to do it. And then we were literally, where were we when I first done it? We weren't far from here. We were at the beach, and it wasn't a freezing cold day, but it wasn't boiling hot either. And I just said to Paul, I'm going to go in the sea. And he looked at me as though I'd said something really strange. And he said, really? Because I've always said I actually really don't like swimming in the sea.
yeah,
And I just said, I've just heard it's meant to be really good for you, this wild swimming. It's just something I'd really love to do. And he was
yeah.
like, okay. And then so we walked down to the sea. And I just got in, and I surprised myself at how
Ah,
easy I got into the water. And I was like, oh my goodness. And the feeling, the only way I can describe it is euphoric.
yeah.
It just instantly, I felt on top of the world. And
Ah,
yes, I do yoga,
yeah.
and I feel that actually really helped me because of the breathing.
Yes,
And
because
I
that
had
initial cold.
that initial feeling of cold, obviously you go and that's not good. You have to try and breathe through it,
Slowly, yeah.
and the yoga really helped me breathe through that first initial gasp of breath.
Yeah.
And once I done that, I was like, wow. And then for a long time when I come out, I mean, but don't get me wrong, I wasn't in the water that long, but
But you don't need to
you
be
don't
though.
need
That's
to
the
be.
amazing thing. You don't have to
I
be in there for
know.
that long.
It's amazing. So I come out and I just felt incredible. And I was like, I want to do that again. That's incredible.
Ah,
So when we went up to Scotland, I done it a few times there,
in
and
the
in the
Scottish
ferry,
water.
yes, I surprised myself. And yeah, because in the locks it's really cold.
Yeah.
And the fairy pools. And I said to Paul, you've got to do it. You've got to. And he sort of looked at me, and he done it as well. And he said, yeah, I can see what you
Oh,
mean.
that's so nice. He did that with you.
Amazing. And to just be in the fairy pools, and just because it's quite a magical place anyway, and to be, wild. I did. It was quite funny walking back. I had a towel around me and my cosy on, and it was quite a warm day actually that day, surprisingly enough. But I did get some funny looks,
Did
and
you?
it really made me think. I said to Paul, isn't it? It's quite sad, really, that people feel,
Yeah.
they have to look at somebody that way, as though I'm doing something really bizarre,
When
because
it's
I have
something that gives so much.
exactly with something that could, I feel, really help someone if you've got bad anxiety,
Yeah.
depression. I really feel that would be a good tonic.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I suffer with anxiety, and like a lot of people throughout lockdown, I felt quite bad with it,
Yeah.
and because of the isolation, and doing that makes you feel amazing. It just makes you breathe. And I mean, that's why I started my yoga, really, which I
Yeah.
find is really helpful.
Yeah.
And that is something I love still to do when I'm out in Georgie. If we
Yeah.
find spot, I still love to do my yoga in the mornings if I can. And there's nothing better than doing yoga in the middle of nowhere,
Outdoors.
next to a
Yeah.
mountain or something, where you've got a beautiful view and you're just in nature. It's lovely.
Definitely.
But with the wild swimming, yeah, definitely, I recommend it to anybody. And it doesn't matter, you don't have to be a strong swimmer, which I'm not.
No, because like you say, you don't have to be in there for
No,
long. Sometimes it is just the case of going in, being in there just for a minute or two, and then coming out. And it's almost like it like releases endorphins, doesn't it? Like when
100%.
you do exercise. And
Yes.
I think that's when that feeling that you were saying about comes in. It's to do with the blood flow as well.
Yeah, the
So
cortisol and all the
yeah,
things in your body go into your brain and just making you feel the adrenaline, just everything. It's like everything, it kickstarts everything in your body.
yeah.
It's a really bizarre feeling. It's really bizarre because I'm going goosey now talking about it.
Ah, that's so
It
good
does, right?
though.
It's right, it's really emotional and it does make you feel really good about yourself.
That's really
Uh,
good.
and I think, it's something, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. Even if you don't live near the beach, there's rivers, there's lots of places. Obviously, I suggest looking up to make sure the water's okay, but there's lots
Yeah, yeah,
to go,
yeah,
and I did follow two girls, like I say, on Instagram who are really, they've been doing it for years.
yeah,
I did message them to get some advice as well.
yeah, yeah,
Really important because obviously cold water shock and all those sort of
yeah.
things.
Especially if
Uh,
you're going on your own as well.
exactly. I wasn't on my own, had Paul with me. And afterwards, I made sure I got dry very quickly. I had a hot drink and all the right things to do.
Yeah.
And there's lots of advice on Instagram and social media about, cold water swimming. So, but it's something I highly recommend.
I love that. That's so good. And hopefully that's inspired people who maybe haven't done
Yes.
wild swimming yet to give it a go as well. Do you feel that this lifestyle encourages your family and also your daughter?
Yes, definitely. I mean, my daughter loves travel anyway, but yeah, I mean, they've met us on numerous occasions and been in the van. We've bought a kayak now so we can all go
Oh,
kayaking.
cool.
And it's lovely, and it's definitely made it a family thing, not just for me and
Yeah.
Paul, which is really lovely. It helps us relax. They've got a dog as well, and it just brings so much joy to the whole family, not just your immediate family, not just yourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love her to get a van, but I don't. They've got other things they're doing at the moment, but
Ah.
they did. But I do think I've brought friends with me, like, out for the day, and they love it. And it's definitely a social thing.
Ah,
Not
that's
It's so
good.
nice not to just be indoors
Yeah.
chatting. It's nice to go out in the van and just sitting in nature and
Yeah.
having a chat. And you find me and Paul, like, you just talk more,
Yes. And
chat.
that's so important.
So
So
important.
important because we have so many distractions
Oh,
in everyday life now.
I like nothing better than finding somewhere where you actually haven't got
Signal.
any signal.
Yeah.
Yes, just to be in the middle of nowhere, perfect to me. Because
Yeah.
we're all guilty of it, and we all do it. The first thing you do when you arrive anywhere, you look to see if you've got signal on your phone.
Yeah.
But it's actually really nice when you haven't, because you can't do anything about it. So
No, that's it.
no.
That's
And you're
it.
just off social media, you're totally off grid, and I just think that's lovely. And you just give each other 100% of your time.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. We need
and
to do
and
more of that.
yeah, definitely.
Oh, I love that. I always like to ask my Instagram community to invite them to ask you a question. And interestingly, that question was, where are you traveling to in the rest of 2022? So you've told us about your Norway trip. Have you got any inspiring places or places that you've got on your list that you would love to be able to tick off?
Well, Scandinavia is definitely one of them, but the other one is to go up to the Highlands again. We just love it. We fell
Oh,
in love with it,
lovely.
and do the individual island hopping.
Oh, like with the Shetland
Yes,
Islands.
all
Oh,
Shetland.
wow.
Love to do that. That looks absolutely incredible. So, I mean, there's so many. I
Yeah.
honestly say I didn't realise how many islands there are.
Do you know how
Um,
many there are?
I don't
I
off the
know
top
there's
of
a
my head.
lot. There is a
There
lot,
are a
isn't
lot. I
there?
don't know
It's
how
not
many
just
there
a
are, but there are
few.
a lot. But we would love to do that. So that
Ah,
if we will once again, if we don't go to Scandinavia next year, that is
swap
what we're
it.
going to do. We'll swap it
Yeah.
and we do some island hopping.
Ah,
We've watched all the programs again. We love. I don't know if you've heard of him, Ben Fogle,
yes.
and he
Love
recently done
Bangkok.
a bit of island hopping. It was
Yes.
actually on the BBC Scottish channel.
Yeah.
And we watched that and was, oh my goodness, we're definitely going there. It just looks incredible. And he actually said they have got the best beaches in the whole world.
Oh,
These
wow.
are incredible and they looked amazing. White sands, the
Oh.
sea is just so beautiful, clear, you can see right through it, blue, just beautiful. And so we're definitely excited about doing that. So that's definitely on our list.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
exciting. That sounds
Yeah.
so lovely.
Yeah.
I also like to ask at the end of each podcast episode the question, which is sustainability wise, what do you wish that you or we had more of?
Within the camper van
It
community.
can it can be within the camper van community, it can be in general, it might be a product that you wish that we had more of, or
Oh
that you
gosh.
wish was sustainable. It's a
Well,
really big open
it
question.
is, yes, that's a big one, isn't it? To be honest, I mean, I try to be sustainable. It was really funny when we started getting all our bits and pieces for Georgie. That is something that was really close to my heart, that I really try to be sustainable. And
Yeah,
every product I buy, all the things I buy, I try to be as sustainable as possible. But in the camper van, it's actually quite hard to do that, I feel. Like I say, I have tried, but it can be really difficult. So I think more products that were aimed for travel
yes,
would be really good. Now, I have found a couple of companies like Pits and Bits that are really good, quite sustainable, but I just think a lot of things in, travel wise would be really good to have sustainable, even down to things like when I was buying my walking boots, I
yes,
just try to look for things like that. The towels we use, lots of things that maybe they haven't thought about, that obviously they've got to think about ease of use for
yeah,
people. For example, towels where you've got to have something that dries quite quickly,
yes.
might not be able to use sustainable materials, but that's something that I do actually feel quite passionate about, that I'd like
Yeah,
in the travel
definitely.
community, lots more sustainable products.
That's such a good answer because, like you say, you can get loads of products out there, but one, they're not everywhere, and so they're
Yeah,
not a norm, but also travel items,
yeah.
the amount of tiny little things that you see, even if you think of like mainstream, like boots, and you get all the little
I
pockets
know.
and things like
Yeah,
that.
it's
So
not.
even down to that as well, I think that's such a good answer.
Mm.
I really like that one.
I mean, I
Really,
try indoors, it's really easy.
yeah,
I've not found it a problem.
yeah,
In a house, you can be quite sustainable as you want to be. But when
yeah.
you're traveling, it is a lot more difficult.
It's harder. Oh, it's
Yeah.
such a good answer. Oh, Amanda, thank you so much for joining me on the Tiny Sessions podcast. And for anyone who would like to see more about you guys, your Instagram handle is Amanda and Darcy. And can you just tell me your YouTube as well?
It's touring with the Thomases.
Touring with the Thomases. Perfect. Amanda, thank you so much for joining
Oh,
me.
thank you. I've really enjoyed it. It's gone so quickly.
I
I could
know.
talk all day.
I know, it's so lovely. Oh, it's lovely
So
chatting to
lovely.
you. It's
No,
so
thank you.
interesting hearing everything. And I was so excited when you said that you're wanting to go to Norway. I was like, me too.
I'll be asking you lots of questions now. You do realise that.
Oh, you can ask me anytime. You can ask me anytime. So I went out there. Funny enough, I went when Ben Fogle was doing a TV series called New Lives in the Wild.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
And there was a TV show that was set in Norway, and it was on an island called Nustholmen with a lady called Randy Skaug.
Yes,
And
yes.
I watched that episode, and I said to myself, I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights, and I said to myself, I was like, I'm going to go there. And I don't know what it was. I was just like, I'm going to go there. And then I was on Instagram, and there was a guy who was helping volunteer on the island, and he was asking for advice for charity. He was a veteran, and he was asking for like charity advice because he was doing a expedition with the lady who owns it. So I gave him some charities that I could think of, like military wise. And then I just said to him, I was like, I would love to help out there. And he said, you should just send an email. So basically, cut a long story short, I ended up going on this island that was on the TV
Oh
show.
my goodness.
I had to be careful at the time because they changed the rules. So I wasn't allowed to be like a volunteer worker. They changed the rules, so I had to pretend I was on holiday.
I like it.
I just pretended that I was on holiday. But I was just like volunteering, and I would not have been able to stay in Norway for the amount of time that I did if I didn't do that. And from that, I made a connection where I was able to go to northern Norway, which is a place called Lofoten and Henningsvær. And I was able to go up to the north, like further up, and I got to see so much more as well. And I would never have been able to do all of that.
That's incredible,
It
Nicole.
was
That's
so lovely.
amazing. And the people seem really lovely out there. I know
Yeah.
I follow one particular lady who actually got me, she helped me with my capsule wardrobe, and it's what she does.
Yeah.
And she's from she's Swedish,
Yeah.
and she's so lovely, and she's just, and I don't know, everyone seems really friendly. They say it's one of the happiest places, don't they, to live?
They do, yeah. Everyone is really friendly. Like, obviously you'll get your loonies everywhere, or your moody ones, but they're all so nice. They're so lovely and so welcoming. Like, when I got to Norway the first time, I'd gone from the UK, and I got a flight to London, and then a flight from London to Oslo, and then from Oslo I had to go to a place called Border. And when I got to Border, I'd arrived, and the lady who ran the island, she apologized because she didn't think, and she was trying to get me to get there in one day. And what happened was they only had one boat to go to the island, but because all the flights were fine until the flight from Oslo to Border, and it was late. And so in the end, I ended up staying with this couple that she knew of, and they were the most loveliest couple, and they're friends now. And they were this like mum and dad who decided to say, yep, it's fine, you just sleep in like our office like bed that they set up, and they fed me and like everything, and they were so lovely. And if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have had a tour of Border the next day, because the guy's wife took me around the area and showed me places that I never would have seen. She knew the guy who had like shrimp, like wild shrimp that he like comes up on his boat and gives them to all the locals. And he was like, she said in Norwegian to him, she was like, can we try one? She's never tried it before. So he just grabbed it, and I was like, okay. But it was amazing. And like, yeah, everyone was so nice. And even the young guys that I met, they were lovely. I was lucky. I had a friend who, she lives in Oslo. She went to uni with me in the UK for like an exchange year. So I went to see her. But the difference of Oslo, the city, and northern Norway is totally different. Totally different. Just everything in northern Norway is just really stripped back, a bit like when you say about Scotland. Whereas Oslo and the city, like even in terms of like the midnight sun, it will, like in northern Norway, it will be really bright all the way through. But and same with the darkness, but in Oslo, the darkness is different and the light is different, so it's more like a dusk, which is how dark it gets to, instead of complete darkness. So it's really interesting.
That must have been amazing for you to see that contrast. See the different. Oh wow, that's incredible!
Really cool. I fell in love with it. It was so cool. And then I've been to Sweden and Copenhagen as well, but just to like the city areas. But again, they're still so lovely.
I just want to see. Like you said, I just want to go to the forests and all the nature parts and just see. I can't wait. You've made me even more excited there.
Well, if you ever have any questions,
I will.
No worries.
This has been so lovely. Thank you so much.
Oh no, you're welcome. Thank you for joining me on your birthday weekend as well.
No, it's been lovely. Made a nice end to my birthday.
That's so good. I'm very happy to hear that. Well, make sure you carry on enjoying, because you've got to keep spreading it.
I'm decorating my tree now, so
I think we're going to do
a job
that.
I do enjoy. I love decorating my tree.
I love it. I always think Christmas movie, Christmas song.
That's what we do. I've got Christmas music on. From the 1st of December, I have in my house Christmas radio is just on constantly.
Yeah, I love it.
And then we watch Christmas movie later, hot chocolate.
That sounds lovely. I think I shall do the same.
Good. Have a nice evening.
You too. Lovely to chat to you, and take care.
Yes. And you take care. Bye-bye.